Okay, hey guys, y'all know Mount Walsh. If you don't, he sucks. I think he's the What is a Woman guy, although I have no idea. This video. Okay, let's just get started with it.
Now we're going to look at another woke children's book. This one, on the surface, I mean, literally reading the book by its cover, it seems maybe not as bad as some of the others that we've looked at, that we've reviewed, but you never know. So we just got to, we're going to read this whole thing. It's pretty short, and I'll read the whole thing, and then I'll offer my review. So let's get into it. This is called C is for Consent.
I apologize for the sirens in the background.
And this is, it says ages, this is for ages 0 and plus. So if you have a 0-year-old child, they could read this and up from there. I mean, you know, it's a
Matt, it's not that complicated.
board book. It's short. So this is really for kids, probably, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yep. Yeah, it is. And as you read it, you see that it is for kids who are like toddlers and kindergartners and preschoolers, just like little kids, because it teaches them about consent and it does a good job explaining it simply. What is your problem with this?
All right. It says, it's time for a party with family and friends. And you see, of course, there we've got the interracial gay couple. We've got the interracial
Interracial disabled couple.
disabled couple. One member
Yeah.
of the couple's disabled. You got to get all the representation there. And I don't see any furries. I don't see anyone
Who was wearing a fursuit to their family reunion.
who's apparently transsexual or even
Transsexual or transgender. Matt, I appreciate the use of transgender, but that's really all we say these days. But like, Matt, that's the thing. I know you don't realize this. I know you don't realize this. I know. Your little bitty brain can't comprehend this. Most trans people aren't trying to let it be known that they're trans. And there could be someone trans in there. There could be, and you wouldn't know. That's the thing, you wouldn't know.
gender or pansexual. So that's a problem.
Pansexual.
But we'll keep going.
Sorry, it's not that pansexuality is a joke. I have many pansexual friends. I just think it's so funny that he is like transsexual or transgender or pansexual.
Grandma wants a hug, but Finn isn't in the mood. That's okay, says Dad. You don't have to give hugs if you don't want to.
Yeah, great. Good dad. Thank you. Thank you, father, in that pink shirt. You look great, by the way, sir. Thank you. Respect.
Grandpa leans down to kiss Finn. Mom says, please ask for consent first.
I like that. That's a good mom.
Grandpa asks, may I kiss you on the cheek? Finn replies, yes, you may.
Okay, this hits kind of close to home because okay, so I have a little brother named Finn and he's autistic and I'm also autistic and so are all of my siblings, all three of them. I have too many. We don't like physical touch that much. Like, none of us really do. And it would be nice if people asked all the time, can I hug you? Like, can I kiss you on the cheek? Like, that would be nice.
Auntie and Uncle want Finn to sit with them. Come sit on my lap. No, you have to sit on my lap. Finn says, no thank you. My parents say I don't have to sit on anyone's lap if I don't feel like it.
You don't. Preach, Finn.
What a brat this kid is.
No.
Mom's friends give Finn a present. Does that mean he has to hug or kiss that person? Only if he wants to.
Yes. Exactly. Also, it's your mom's friend. It's not your family. I feel like that's way weirder. Like, why are you just giving this kid a present? Is it a birthday party? Did I miss some context? I don't know. Maybe it's just that my mom's friends are like this, and they're, like, too much of my business. Like, they hand me stuff that says my dead name. Like, they're like, oh, I monogram this for you. And I'm like, I've gone by my current name for 2 years. Excuse me? Also, I hardly know you. Like, Summer, I'm sorry. I apologize, but
Maybe Finn could high five or fist bump instead. Or maybe he doesn't want to be touched.
That works. Good job, Finn. I'm glad that you know boundaries. I'm glad that you understand them because a lot of people your age don't understand them. It's good that you understand boundaries because you can set boundaries, and if people violate those boundaries, you can know that that is wrong. Like, a lot of people grow up not knowing that, like, it's okay to set boundaries, and it totally is. I grew up knowing it was okay to set boundaries because my mom was, like, paranoid. She gave me the, some people are very attracted to you and they might just have to kill you over it. She gave me that talk when I was 7. And when I was 4, she was like, hey, if anyone touches you there or there, that's bad. And, you know, that meant that later when I was assaulted, I knew that it was wrong.
At all. It's his choice what happens to his body. Finn is happy to see his best friend Rue. He asks, may I hold your hand? It is okay for you to say no.
Okay, I just gotta say these signs are so ugly. He does not have knees.
Rue replies, yes, you may hold my hand. Thank you for asking first.
Maybe he does have knees? I can't tell.
And that's it. That's the end of the whole story.
Rue does look like a doll, though.
Okay. Then there are discussion questions at the end, which we won't get into. Well, so that
No, Matt, I want to have a discussion.
actually is, somewhat surprisingly, this is the worst one yet.
How?
This somehow manages to be more disturbing than, books that are pushing transgenderism and bisexuality.
Oh my gosh. Transgenderism and bisexuality. Your kids will... They're gonna tell your kids that gay people exist. The evil agenda. Matt Walsh is a Florida man, if I ever knew one. But, like, I feel like there's no harm in any of those things, but there's, like, the least in that because it's
That kind of
sorry,
stuff. Those books are bad too, but don't get me wrong.
But Matt, how is this bad?
This one disturbs me on a deeper level.
How?
So let's count the ways. To begin with, before we get to the major problems here, this kid is awful. I mean,
No, he's not. He has boundaries and he knows how to set his boundaries. He knows what is okay with him and what is not okay with him, and that is a good thing.
This is what happens when you have permissive hippie parents. I would
Girl.
not, I can't imagine if I was a little kid, if I was like 6 years old and my grandmother came to visit and said, hey, give me a hug. And I said, nah, I don't feel like it, Granny.
Finn is not saying that. Sorry, the kid in there is not saying that. He's just asking to be asked before, like, someone touches him or whatever. Like, that's not...
I cannot imagine what my dad's reaction would have been. It would not have been pleasant, I can tell you. My reaction with my own kids wouldn't be pleasant. And that's...
Matt, honey, baby girl, we know you're a bad parent.
Yes, I tell them. I guess let me tell you something. I violate my kids' consent all the time in the sense that...
Honey, sweetie, Matt, baby girl, Matt, babe, buddy. You can't say stuff like that. You know you can't say stuff like that. You know you cannot say stuff like that. Girl.
I force them to do things they don't want to do.
Sit down and
South Park.
study!
That's much of the day, in fact, is...
Oh my gosh, Matt, I know you're not very smart, but way to miss the point completely. Matt, this is about asking consent to touch or be touched or whatever. It's not... Okay.
It involves them doing things that it's not their idea to do those things. They don't really want to do those things. Clean their room. Let's start with that. Like, I don't get their consent for that. What is that, forced labor? Is that slavery?
You can't say these things.
My kids know that when a family member comes over to visit, you go and give them a hug. It's not an option. It's not a
Okay.
choice. You are required to do that
Well, don't look at me like I'm frickin' Frankenstein. Give your father a hug.
because that's polite.
So is asking for consent.
But the major problem here is that the book explicitly sexualizes physical contact.
Okay. Let's change the whole thing. Let's change it. P is for permission. Grandma leans down to give Finn a kiss on the cheek. Dad says, "Could you ask for permission before doing that?" Grandma says, "Finn, may I have your permission to kiss you on the cheek?" Finn says yes. Grandma kisses him on the cheek. Is that better? Because consent is not a sexual word. Consent is not inherently sexual. I know that a lot of the times consent is used in a sexual context, but it isn't always, okay? It isn't always. Words have other meanings. Matt, I know you're not very smart.
Between
My mom wanted me anyway.
family members. I mean, this author who is it? Eleanor Morrison. His, her, whoever's,
Thank you.
they're taking their own, I don't want to misgender them.
Buddy, okay. I'm not gonna say anything more for like 10 seconds.
Whoever it is, they're taking their own complex and projecting it.
Okay, I lied. Again, consent in this case just means permission. Consent means permission anyway. It's just, do you just think consent is an inherently sexual word?
On to everyone else. I don't know what's going on with you that you view a hug from an aunt or a grandfather as potentially sexual in nature.
It's not. It is just something that you can ask consent for.
But it's something you should be talking to a therapist about. You don't write
Matt, I violate my kids' consent all the time, Walsh. I think you should see a therapist.
it into a children's book, for God's sake. And this is what you get from the left, right? They grew up on a diet of Freud, whether they know it or
And the right is, I violate my children's consent all the time.
not. And now they see everything in sexual terms. Everything is sexual. They're incapable of conceptualizing any human interaction that might occur outside of a sexual framework. Everything for them is sexual or potentially sexual. And they're weirdos, in other words, to summarize.
Losers, in other words.
I mean, let's take the family dynamic out of it for a second, just for a moment, because I don't want to dwell on that. It's too disturbing. And let's pretend that we're talking about just some dude and a girl, and they're not related. Even in that context, the idea that verbal consent should precede every physical interaction is asinine. I mean, my wife would look at me like a maniac if we were walking somewhere down the sidewalk or something, and I said, "Excuse me,
May I have consent to hold your hand?
Okay.
Requesting permission to initiate physical interaction.
Permission granted. You may maintain physical contact for 75 seconds.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's what they want." Now we know why leftists are so angry all the time. They're lonely. Nobody wants to be around them because this is
Okay, Matt. But I can guarantee you that no sane, rational person wants to be around you. Because you say stuff like this. You know, you can think this stuff, and that's your thoughts, and I can't control your thoughts, Matt. But you don't have to verbalize it.
they act like some bizarre mix. It's the weirdest mix of hedonistic sex fiend and robot.
You wouldn't know perversion
Hedonistic sex fiend.
if it put
Matt, this is a children's book.
clamps on your testicles.
Leftist men in particular are just lonely. There's no way any woman wants to be around this kind of thing if they carry on like this. All of this hyper consent
I can assure you many women want to be around me.
stuff. It makes sense among machines. But for organic creatures, we need organic interactions. We need things to develop naturally. But this all again, this is I'm talking now about two adults who aren't
What is wrong with asking permission before touching someone? It doesn't have to be sexual. Matt, I'm curious. In sexual encounters, do you also not ask permission?
related. So I'm doing the book a favor by framing the conversation this way. What the book is actually talking about, again, are little kids and their grandparents.
Yes, and they are not making it sexual. They are saying the word consent, which means permission. If it was permission, you would probably you would have problems with this because you like to violate your kid's consent, apparently, but permission. It's not, Matt.
They want robotic consent requests, even in that context.
Excuse me, young one. May I have consent to kiss you on the forehead and squeeze your cheeks and remark on how big you've gotten since I last saw you 2 months ago?
Permission denied. Get lost, you old fart.
That is literally.
Okay. I'm just gonna not talk about this video anymore because this is making me very angry. But if I had to see it, you do too.